Welcome to the NRL previews for round 25 of the 2023 season, where this week the NRL, alongside all 17 NRL Telstra Premiership clubs, will unite for Daniel Anderson. A special online auction will take place between August 15th and August 22nd, with sign and worn jerseys from every NRL captain up for grabs for this week's matches. I'm Renee Gartner and I'm joined by our usual host, Josh Mansour, and we're unpacking all the games this week as the top 8 battle becomes more intense in our final weeks. We kick off on Thursday night with the Cowboys and Sharks. And firstly, let's take a look at the home team who are coming off the bye. And they kind of look like they were starting to really get that season fatigue starting to happen. So that bye should have refreshed them coming into this game. How do you think they're going to come out of it?
Definitely refreshed them, in my opinion. I think they left a little bit of that run a bit too late. Obviously, sitting outside the 8 there, bit in a dangerous waters for the Cowboys, but it's do or die for the Cowboys from here on in. Big game against the Sharks. Obviously, they're playing with a lot of form at the moment as well, with a lot of confidence. But with Jeremiah Nanai back, obviously, will definitely boost the Cowboys' chances for winning this game.
Yeah, well, the Sharks were starting to see some return form from Hines. It's great to see him get his mojo back as well too. And you look across at Wade Graham as well too. It's like saying he's retiring is just taking the shackles off him, and we're starting to see him. He's like a fine wine on the footy field.
You know what? I get that all the time. But yeah, awesome to see Wade to have an awesome match last week, particularly for the Cronulla Sharks as well. Hines is back in form, and I feel like they've really sorted out the conundrum at the back with Connor Tracy filling in for Will Kennedy. He's been outstanding. Been playing with him in reserve grade all year. He deserves his shot. Massive in for them, and of course Trindle as well in the halves there. Definitely steering the ship with Nico Hines there. I feel like that conundrum they had in the spine has definitely been sorted, and it looks like they're playing with a lot of confidence now. All
right, two teams coming to form at the same time, coming into finals. This is going to be a big one up in North Queensland. Where do you see this one landing?
Well, the Sharks are up there now. They're taking the most of it. Hopefully having a bit of a gelling camp up there. So it is going to be a big game. Cowboys are always strong at home. We all know that. It's very humid, and I'm going to stick with the Sharkies. I feel like they've got a lot of confidence at the moment, and I feel like this is a massive opportunity to hopefully solidify a top 4 finish for them.
All right, thank you so much, Josh. Unmissable matchups taking place all weekend. If you want to see this match live, head to nrl.com/tickets. If you can't get to the game though, don't worry. You can watch it on Channel 9, Foxtel, Sky New Zealand or KO. Kickoff is at 7:50 p.m. Welcome to the NRL previews for round 25 of the 23 season, where this week the NRL, alongside all 17 NRL Telstra Premiership clubs, will unite for Daniel Anderson. There's also a special online auction which will take place between August 15 and August 22, with signed and worn jerseys from every NRL club captain up for grabs from this week's matches. I'm Renee Gartner and I'm joined by our regular host, Josh Mansour. We're unpacking all the games this week as the top 8 battle becomes even more intense in our final weeks. Next up, we're going to have a look at the Seagulls flying over to Auckland to the Daniel Anderson Stadium to take on the Warriors. They're currently sitting in top 4, but they picked up some injuries to key personnel. Add to that as well too, Josh, Andrew Webster has said that there's been some real lapses in their concentration. Now, you can train for a lot of things, but lapses in concentration is one of the harder ones now.
You can fall a victim in that with, like, obviously this part of the season, like you see finals just around the corner, so you kind of hold yourself back as a player. It can happen, but knowing Andrew Webster, he definitely want to squash that straight away. The Warriors have been in form all year. They deserve their position on the ladder at the moment, and Dallin Watene-Zelezniak, what a player he's been, a good friend of mine. But with the Warriors, I thought they didn't play that bad last week. The West Tigers did take it to them, but saying that they did get the 2 points, and sometimes you have to win ugly. But massive wins for them. Shah's Nicole Coxstad back. He does a tremendous amount of work coming out of yardage, and especially in defence. I feel like he's been an outstanding player for him all season, along with Sean Johnson. So it'll be a very, very good match at Daniel Anderson Stadium.
Yeah, absolutely, and also their kicking game added to that as well
exactly.
too. All right, well now to Manly though, the injury ravaged as well. It's that time of the season. Yet again, 2 key outs. HIA protocols taking out Brad Parker and Ben Trevorovic as well too. These guys not only need to win this game, but they need to win big, and they also need to rely on other teams' results. It's a horrible place to be in, but
horrible.
I mean, they've got the ability. We saw it in the first opening minutes of that Penrith game.
They had the ability, but again, consistency has been lacking for them all season. They are flying across the ditch. I like that pun, Renee.
Yeah, thank you.
So it is going to be a big matchup. They did take it to the reigning champs last week, so there is definitely a lot of positives in their game, but again, do they leave it too late? Like it's do or die for the Manly Seagulls at the moment. They definitely do got a lot of class in their team, but unfortunately, hopefully they didn't leave it too late.
What do you like of them moving the ball around a little bit more? Because that's kind of the game that the Warriors play as well too. There's a lot of like side-to-side sort of movement.
The Warriors and Panthers do share a lot of similarities, and obviously, I think it comes down to Angel Webster bringing that to the Warriors. But for me, they have to take every opportunity. If it's coming out of yardage, they did that against Penrith last week, where they did surprise them quite a bit. But there's no different this week. You know, Warriors do play with a lot of structure, so. The biggest strength for the Manly Seagulls this week is definitely playing that unstructured style of footy.
All right, who are you going, structured or unstructured?
I'm going to go structured with the Warriors. I feel like it's a special week for Daniel Anderson, so he has done a tremendous amount of work, and I think it deserves a lot of praise. So tributes to the Warriors, and yeah, it should be a good game for the Warriors.
This is our first fight. All right, thanks, Josh. Unmissable matchups taking place all weekend. This one is at the Daniel Anderson Stadium, but unfortunately it is a sellout, so you're going to have to watch this one on Foxtel, Sky New Zealand or KO. Kickoff is at 6 p.m. Welcome to the NRL previews for round 25 of the 23 season, where this week the NRL, alongside all 17 NRL Telstra Premiership clubs, will unite for Daniel Anderson. There's a special online auction which will take place between August 15 and August 22, with signed and worn jerseys from every NRL club captain up for grabs from this week's matches. So make sure you check that out. I'm Renee Gartner and I'm joined by Josh Mansour to unpack all the games this week. The top 8 battle gets more intense in our final weeks. Josh, I'm getting really excited.
Traffic jam.
It is the absolute loggerheads there. The next game is between the Eels and Roosters, and to Parramatta first, a huge blow to one of your mates, Mitchell Moses.
Yep.
But they get back 2 of their big forwards in Mike Acevo and Regal Campbell-Gillard. They just can't seem to get all their men on the field at the same time.
Unfortunately not, and they do have the team to do something special, but unfortunately it hasn't really panned out that way this season. Injuries being one of them. Big inclusions with Regan back, and obviously one of the best finishers in the game in Civil, but they do lose their talisman, their captain, Mitch Moses, who's a massive loss for them, in my opinion. They do get RC back, and I feel like that's where it's going to be a bit complicated. That RC and Dylan Brunt haven't really played much game time together, so it'll be interesting what they dish up this weekend, but it's going to be a big clash against the Roosters, who are striving for that top 8 finish just like them. Yeah,
absolutely. And the Roosters, there was a press conference with Robbo after the game last week, and he said he was a bit worried about them being able to create opportunities but not being able to capitalise them.
Yep.
A little bit happier in that second half. They need a lot of big improvements to sort of come up at this game, because the Eels can still have the ability to rattle them.
Yeah, definitely. And again, like I said before, Maker back and Regan's going to be a massive boost for the Parramatta Eels. But with the Roosters, I should say, they definitely picked up a lot of form, and I feel like they've finally sorted their halves problem.
Yeah.
Drew Hutchison playing the 7 has definitely been outstanding for them. They've got so much potential and threat on the edges there, Joey Manu being one of them, and obviously Daniel Tupou on the wing. So they can score a lot of points. Obviously, like what Coach said, it's about finishing them. And that's what it comes down to, and I do feel like the Roosters can pile a lot of points on this week.
Yeah, Dylan Napa came back for his first game last week as well too, and he had a pretty decent stout as well too. Sam Walker, you said you caught up with him during the week as well too. How's he feeling about coming back in?
Obviously disappointed being out for such a lengthy period of time, but he's obviously had a pretty good game for the North Sydney Bears in Reggie's last week, his first game back, and being named at 18, obviously he's on the cuffs in making that return to the NRL. So the biggest thing I got out of him, he's got a lot of energy about him. He's definitely not dropping his head, and I'm sure we'll see him in the NRL soon.
Great attitude to have. Who are you picking?
With Mitch out, I feel like it'll be a big job for the Parramatta Eels this week, so I'm going to say the City Roosters.
All right, well, you heard it here first. Thank you so much. Unmissable matchups taking place all weekend. If you do want to see this match live, head to nrl.com/tickets. If you can't get to the game, remember you can watch it on Channel 9, Foxtel, Sky New Zealand or KO. Kickoff is at 8 p.m. Welcome to the NRL previews for round 25 of the 23 season. I'm Renee Gartner and I'm joined by Josh Mansour to unpack all the games this week as the top 8 battle becomes even more intense in our final weeks. Saturday afternoon begins at CommBank Stadium. We've got the West Tigers and Dolphins, both sides wanting to finish their season with their heads held high. The West Tigers took their home game over to New Zealand, which was always going to be a hard task. But Sheens was actually happy to see some really positive signs, which are making them look a little bit better going into next year. They've had quite a few injuries as well too. I mean, it's their time to strike now. They really want to have a go.
There's been a lot of injuries, particularly last week. But with the Tigers, they're always in the fight, particularly in the top 4 teams they've played against. They've got a great scalp against the Penrith Panthers early in the year where I had to shave my head. Who could forget that? But also, again, with the Warriors, like they've definitely taken it to them. And a shining light has been Dayton Laurie jumping the number 6 jersey. The only downfall with that is going to the Panthers next year. So obviously they have a bit of a conundrum with their halves for next season. So in my opinion, I feel like the Tigers, they don't lack effort, which is a massive positive.
Yeah, all right. Well, let's head over to the Dolphins. Resilience is probably the word that I would use when it comes to explaining how their year has sort of played out. Embattled with injuries, constant combination reshuffles as well too. They still have an opportunity to finish strong here as well too.
Yeah, massive. And obviously they had a lot of hype. Obviously the first season in the NRL, the way they started was absolutely amazing, and injuries have definitely hampered their performances this year. But the shining light for me has been Jermaine Osako. He's on the cusp of an amazing record, which is currently held by Joel Kane. So hopefully he can get on the score sheet a few times and break that record. And
that record is the most amount of points scored in a club's first season. So that record's been standing since the West Tigers came in 2000. Now, this is going to be a huge game. Are you going to pick?
I'm leaning towards the Tigers. I'm sure Paulie in the office back there is happy with that pick. But yeah, I feel like they've been playing with a lot of excitement as of late, and I feel like they've got the Dolphins at the right time with those massive outs for them.
All right, well, you'll have to check out Footy Fantasy to see who Paulie G is backing, but it's unmissable matchups taking place all weekend. If you want to see this match live, head to nrl.com/tickets. If you can't get to the game, though, you can watch it on Foxtel, Sky New Zealand or KO. Kickoff is at 3 p.m. Welcome to the NRL previews for round 25 of the 2023 season, where this week the NRL, alongside all 17 NRL Telstra Premiership clubs, will unite for Daniel Anderson. I'm Renee Gartner and I'm joined by Josh Mansour to unpack all the games this week. The top 8 battle, it's becoming more intense. It's our final weeks, and Saturday night it lands us on the Gold Coast for the Titans and Panthers. It's a tough task for the home side, Josh. They're taking on the top of the table, but Manly were able to disrupt them a little bit last week and move that ball around. Do you think Titans can sort of do a little bit of what Manly were doing going into that game and disrupt them?
They're the kings of playing unstructured footy, the Titans, definitely. Obviously, the biggest thing for the Titans is there's so much change in their halves. You know, new fullback, Jaden Campbell in the 6, and new halves, halfback, I should say. So,
this bloke missing as well.
Yeah, Kieran Foran, he's been absolutely amazing for them, and unfortunately, him out, he's been their main orchestrator in how they attack. So, it is a big task, but there is some positives. Obviously, with the news of David Fifita signing and Tino, so 2 long-term deals. But again, it's going to be a big job, and again, they're coming up against the reigning champs, which I'm sure they don't need extra motivation to come up to this game.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's go over to the Panthers. They get back Jerome Luai and also Mitch Kenny, and Tyrone Peachey as well too. All that we thought were going to disrupt their chances last week. I can't imagine they're going to let their guard down the same way it sort of happened this week.
Yeah,
but
I don't think
you
so.
You don't like the fact that I'm saying let their guard down, but I just feel like they were a little bit shocked in terms of how much their game was made. But I don't see them doing it again.
Well, again, I feel like Manly definitely took their chances last week, which definitely rattled the Panthers a little bit. But again, with the Panthers, they're not going to go up there underprepared. They're definitely going to go up there, put their best foot forward, and again, they won't be looking at the Titans on who's in and who's out. They're just going to go out there, play their own game, and I think that's what all the top 4 teams need to do this in the coming weeks. So. Again, the Panthers, they could be their own worst enemy, but I highly doubt it, and I'm expecting a big game from them.
All right, you're basically saying the motor's going to keep running and they're going to roll straight into that grand.
Well, one of premiership is up for grabs, so big opportunity for the Panthers to claim that again, and yeah, I'm obviously leaning towards the Panthers.
I haven't worked that out, have I? All right, unmissable matchups taking place all weekend. If you want to see this match live, head to nrl.com/tickets. Welcome to the NRL previews for round 25 of the 23 season, where this week the NRL, alongside all 17 NRL Telstra Premiership clubs, will unite for Daniel Anderson. I'm Renee Gartner. I'm joined by Josh Mansour to unpack all the games this week as the top 8 battle continues to get more intense in our final weeks. Saturday night, it's a home game for the Dragons as they welcome the Storm to Wollongong. Double boost, Josh. They get Zach Lomax back and Francis Molo. they're going to have to hope that they're on the right side of luck this week. I feel like the last couple of weeks have been so close in the game, but luck sort of hasn't fallen on their side.
Well, I feel like they've been the worst enemy, the only worst enemy. Like, they're completing at 60%, which is very hard to win football games at that rate. And their error count, 11 errors last week, 5 penalties. You're not going to win a football game, particularly against the Souths last week. So, again, I feel like if they play simple football, complete high, you know, making their tackles, it goes a long way. 8 times out of 10, you win the football game. You know, football is definitely a very simple game at times. And but saying that, they are coming up against the Melbourne Storm, who had an outstanding performance last week. But hopefully Zach Lomax and Francis Moller can really boost the Dragons in this game.
All right, over the Storm. I hate to say you were right, but
the
Storm, they can't play 2 bad games in a row with your words. Basically, they put the Raiders to the sword.
Yeah.
Coming into this game, it looks like they've really flicked the switch and we're starting to see the Storm of old, the one that we used to come up against and just didn't want to have to play the Storm.
Well, I've got no doubt they've penciled the top 4 position, so that this game is definitely an opportunity to kind of really put a score on the Dragons, in my opinion. So with their big guns, Harry Grant playing in absolutely great form, Munster as well, now Jerome Hughes, the more games they get under their belt, the more cohesion that will come with it. So again, the Storm are just playing really, really good football as of late, and again, I feel like, you know, this game is definitely a big opportunity to kind of solidify their top 4 finish.
They've got a real fun vibe about them as well at the moment. You see Harry Grant, just massive smile as he's going over the try line. You kind of see that the way across the field as well. Like when they're playing fun, frivolous football, that's when they're the most dangerous.
No, 100%. Any team, when they're playing fun, you know, free football, that's a team you don't want to come up against. And the Storm right now, they're playing with a lot of confidence.
All right, well, pick.
You really have,
Just chew up some seconds. All right, unmissable matchups taking place all weekend. If you want to see this match live, head to nrl.com/tickets. If you can't get to the game, you can watch it on Channel 9, Foxtel, Sky New Zealand or KO. Kick-off is at 7:35 p.m. Welcome to the NRL previews for round 25 of the 2023 season. I'm Renee Gartner. I'm joined by Josh Mansour to unpack all these games for this week. The next game, we head to a sold-out game in Newcastle. It's the Knights and Rabbitohs. It's the fullback matchup we've been waiting for. It's Latrell and Ponga. It's the top 8 spot on the line. There is so much excitement. Josh, Bradford Best, he's back to his best as well too. He's been named to start. Jackson Hastings, although suffering a syndesmosis injury, it looked like last week, he's also named to start. The Knights mean business.
Oh, definitely. I feel the worst for Jackson Hastings last week after I saw him go down. But yeah, the Knights are absolutely humming at the moment, and what a mouth-watering clash this is going to be. Ponga has been killing it as of late as well, and they love playing in Newcastle. So it's going to be a big game. I'm really looking forward to it. In my opinion, it's going to be the game of the round. So I'm sure that the Knights will be turning it on at Newcastle Stadium.
Because we didn't get to see these two come together at Origins. They both didn't play. So I think the battle of the fullbacks is going to be extremely exciting.
It's absolutely going to collide. I can't wait for this one.
Yeah, all right, well, let's look over to South. They've slid from 4th to 8th since round 17.
Yeah.
This is their week to really make a statement, though, and then really try and nudge their way back into the top 8 and make a scene.
I feel like they're just lacking a bit in completions. Again, last week they completed only 60%, 69%. So that's definitely hurting the South Sydney Rabbitohs. They've definitely got a lot of talent across the park. So talent is not the issue. They just definitely got to, fix up the little things in their game, and I feel like it'll go a long way in, hopefully winning this massive game against the Newcastle Knights. But one coach that will have a lot of pressure on his shoulders is Jason Demetrio. It's like the flips have switched. It was Adam O'Brien early this year, and now it's obviously Jason. And I feel like, in my opinion, they're just too good to be sitting where they are at the moment on the ladder. And with all that star power, hopefully they can come out and make a big performance this week.
All right, sold out crowd, as we said, in Newcastle. Are the Knights going to keep the roll on, or are the South side going to flick the switch?
I'm hoping, obviously, for the Buddy boys to flip the switch. But again, I feel like the confidence and the momentum is just all leaning towards the Knights at the moment. It's going to be a big game. It's do or die for both teams, and I'm going to have to back the Knights.
Ooh, I'm going to tell the South boys. All right, thank you so much, Josh. Unmissable matchups taking place all weekend. This one is a sellout. I'm sorry, no more room to sit to watch. So make sure you check it out on Foxtel, Sky New Zealand or KO. Kick-off is at 2 p.m. Welcome to the NRL previews for round 25 of the 23 season. I'm Renee Gartner and I'm joined by Josh Mansour to unpack all the games this week, and we wrap up the round on Sunday with the Raiders and Bulldogs. The Green Machine with only one win from the last 4 starts. They not only need the 2 points in this game, but they actually also need to pile on the points in this game as well too. That ladder is so jammed, it's going to come down to the differential.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of teams creeping up right behind them, and it's, for me, like you said, like that differential is, I think it's Manly Seagulls who come up second after that. So, in my opinion, they definitely have to win this game. They are in a good position to win this game. They are playing at home. They are playing against the Bulldogs, who haven't been playing that well this season. So, I know one thing: Ricky wasn't really happy in that press conference at the end of that match, and I would hate to be on his wrong side. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, we'll go over the Bulldogs, though. They're coming off a bye, which should have presented a bit of a fresher unit going into last week's game. Serraldo was pretty unhappy. It was 60% completion rate going into that game. Their penalty count was also quite high. Too much ill discipline is starting to creep into that game as well too. How do they restore that and also restore some pride to finish off the season?
Just play simple football. Simple as that. You know, obviously they've had again a few injuries and suspensions, but for me, they just have to play simple football. They are playing against Canberra, and I feel like Canberra right now is they're ripe for the picking. They haven't been playing that well as of late, like you said. So for me, the Bulldogs can definitely shake the tree and go down there and invade the capital and hopefully take away the 2 points from Canberra.
And a big loss to the game and the Bulldogs as well too, with Tavita Pangai Jr. retiring at his end. Yeah,
that was a bit of a surprise for me. Obviously, you know, all the best to Tavita. It's a big loss from the game, but I'm sure whatever he does next, everyone will be supporting him.
All right, I hear you called him out, ready for a fight.
That will never happen. That will never happen.
All right, well, I'm going to call you out, pick a winner.
You know what? I feel like it's do or die for Canberra. It's a very important matchup, but for some strange reason, I'm leaning towards the Bulldogs. I feel like the Raiders at the moment are definitely down in confidence, and I feel like the Bulldogs can go down to Canberra, invade the capital, and take the 2 points away from Canberra. So I'm going to go to Bulldogs.
All right, you're keeping Serraldo happy this week.
Yeah, we're mates. What can I say?
Okay, thank you so much for this week's wraps. Unmissable matchups taking place all weekend. If you want to see this match live, head to nrl.com/tickets. If you can't get to the game, you can watch it on Channel 9, Foxtel, Sky New Zealand or KO. Kick-off is at 4:05 p.m.